Yo, chat, I'm just letting you know we get 1v2 to turn off stream, watch it offline. Heads up.
Information first.
Yeah, surely sees that out, but
that's not going to happen, right?
Wrinkle. Oh, here they come. The timing on this is going to be unbelievable. They might have spotted him out. They haven't seen a thing. Wrinkle! Taps them in off.
All right.
And I mean, listen, I don't know anything. I'm just a commentator, but I'm looking at that from Rancor. Doesn't even seem like a good try.
Appreciate
like he just gave
man.
himself no time
Take
to pick
care,
up the
buddy.
bomb.
This could be us. So back to what I was saying. Could be us. Could be us.
Say please.
Could be us.
Say please.
Could be us. She gotta say please.
On this level, I guess the burrito level, like I love talking on the burrito level, like
Say please.
All right, yo, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Borito Talk podcast. I am your host, Borito, the #1 CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world. And we are going to recap this past weekend's matches. And as we do that, we're obviously going to get into the two big topics from this past weekend, which is Paris Gentlemates and LA Thieves. And we're going to do it in order. Depending on the series, I think it's the only series LA Thieves played, so I guess we're going to talk about them. Did they play again? I actually forgot already. They actually did play again, so I'll talk more about them during the Miami series later on. But we're going to skim through the games. We're going to keep it a nice, modest hour. We're going to talk about stuff, and then Wednesday, Thursday, be there in the streams. We're going to go over some Paris and LA Thieves gameplay, analyze, do all that stuff. The Borito Talk podcast, as always, Apple Podcasts, Spotify. Follow the show on those platforms, download, tell a friend, do all that good stuff. Help the show grow. The bigger the show gets, the bigger the guests get. And we're going to have a guest pretty soon during the week break after the major, possibly before then. We'll see. I'm working things out. But we're going to get things started. I skipped the Vancouver Cloud9 series. I don't think anyone wants to hear about that. Vancouver beat Cloud9 3-1. It was a battle of the not so good teams. Obviously, Cloud9 got the miracle win against Paris. Some people started picking them in pick'ems. I said, yeah, that was just a lucky win against a team that's obviously compromised. And they went right back to business as usual. As I yawn again. Oh my god. Everyone always hates that I yawn. There's some people that hate it when I yawn. I can't even control it. Back to business as usual, losing 3-1 to Vancouver Surge. It was pretty much a battle of who was a lot less worse, and it so happened to be Vancouver Surge. So they beat them 3-1. And then the game after that, LA Thieves versus FaZe Vegas. Oh my god. FaZe Vegas. And FaZe Vegas actually won 3-2. They won both hard points in the series, and then a last map 6-1 Scar S&D. Thoughts on this series? Okay, we're gonna get more to LA Thieves when it comes to the Miami series, but thoughts on this series? Both teams were compromised. Like, this was a very good series. These are two teams that we're very anticipated to see play, and they delivered. I'm surprised by the vetoes. I'm not going to lie. I was surprised by the vetoes in this. I talked about it earlier. I'm surprised that LA Thieves banned Scar and not Blackheart. I think they got the one good win on Blackheart where they looked pretty dominant, and they just thought, you know what? We're going to square up on it. It's practice. Like, we're 4-1. Like, we could take a risk on this map to get a really good match rep, because match reps are way different than scrim reps. Everyone could just scrim and just play mindlessly, but in the game, you have to execute. So that's when you get like the best practice. If you really want to get better at maps, play them in the game like FaZe did. Like, FaZe was not the best Blackheart team at all, and they played it over and over again. Major lands, qualifiers, lost to G2 at it, got better, started beating G2 at it. The only team they can't beat on it now are the Falcons. So that looks like the best Blackheart hardport team right now. And I think LA Thieves are trying to do the same thing, get Blackheart into their belt, because I guess they're not taking their chance on Colossus. And LA Thieves is actually a pretty good Colossus hardpoint team, like they actually are. When they played OpTic, their first 3-4 rotations were extremely good, and then all of a sudden it just collapsed. And they forgot how to play, forgot how to rotate. OpTic was taking over. It was extremely hard. So I think they would be better off getting good at Colossus and banning Blackheart. But if they add... Yeah, but that's his thing. So if you're a top team... I'll probably elaborate on this further later on, maybe. If you're a top team, you have to look at the other top teams and what their weaknesses are. Yes, you could worry about like the rest of the league because obviously you have to get wins against the rest of the league. But you're thinking about the championship Sundays when you're playing like the better teams. You're thinking about the grand finals when you're playing the best teams. And right now, the best teams are Paris and OpTic. Obviously, Paris is like nowhere near like a top team right now. But theoretically speaking, they are like a top team. And both top teams have one common thing. They don't play Blackheart. And they will ban Blackheart. So if you're LA Thieves, what's the point of getting good at Blackheart when those teams are always going to have an auto hardpoint ban? Whether it's grand finals or a best of 5, they're always going to have that ban. So they're automatically going to ban Blackheart. So why even try to get better at it? Yes, you could try to get better at it. And then you play another team, etc., etc. Anything could happen. But why not just do what they're doing? Because they're going to ban Blackheart anyway. So if you get good at Blackheart, it won't even matter because they'll just ban it. So out of those maps between Colossus and Blackheart, you might want to just put extra attention into Colossus and score up on teams of Colossus. Because then if you're better at Colossus than a Gentlemates and OpTic, you know, then they have to start picking either or. You know, and then you can start throwing other maps that you're good at in the series. Something like that. And then FaZe banned Colossus. I was surprised because both teams have been average on it. But I mean, I'm not really surprised. But the reason I didn't like that ban is because FaZe right now, for some reason, is like 1-4 on Den hardpoint. I don't even know how. They're like 1-4 or 0-4. I think it's 1-4. And they left the map open for LA Thieves, which is their best hardpoint map. They beat like everyone on that map. It's like the one map in hardpoint that they're undisputed like good at, no matter how bad they are. As I yawn for a third time, oh my god, someone's got to stop me, dude. Should I just drink some water? Okay, I drank water. I'm locked in. Okay, so LA Thieves had a chance to pick Den, and they picked it, but they lost it. FaZe actually won it. LA Thieves arguably could have won that game, but they didn't. And I was surprised that FaZe even allowed that map through, but now it's like, oh my god, it doesn't matter because they won anyway. That's what people were saying. But they shouldn't have picked it in the first place, but they did, and they won it. And then LA Thieves allowed Blackheart in because like they thought they were good at it after playing it one time and getting one impressive win. They're all of a sudden like, oh, we can play this map. And then they found out real quick that there's a skill gap to Blackheart, and there's like the mid pack at Blackheart, and then there's probably Falcons, FaZe. And I want to throw a G2 in there because they have some good reps. I'll throw Falcons, FaZe, G2, and who's the last team? I think Miami's like sleeper good at it. Might throw them fourth, like best Blackheart team. They're sleeper good at it. So those are like the top teams at Blackheart, and then there's everybody else. So LAD's found out there's a real skill gap at that map. FaZe banned Colossus S&D probably because LA Thieves not that great at much other S&D maps. And for some reason, LAT banned Raid, even though FaZe pretty much auto bans it against everybody. But maybe because FaZe has some reps on it, it would be two bad teams playing Raid against each other. They probably should have left that map in. But FaZe picked Den, which is like a good map for them. That's great. And then LAT's pick Scar. Why pick Scar? It's like a 50-50 map. You could be a great team at Scar, but it's day to day. There's only so many things you could do on that map. It's a lot of A retakes, you know, like a lot of mid stuff. Any given day, you're not going to give away your scarcity strats in a random qualifier as I yawn for the fourth time. Someone's got to stop me. I don't even know why I keep yawning as I talk. I think it's like the air you grab in, you know? I think it's the air you grab in. But yeah, the confusing bans from everyone. The most confusing ban of all was LAT banning Den Overload and FaZe picking Scar. A map which they played one time, I think somewhere in Major 1 qualifiers. They're 0-1 in it. They barely play it. They don't play it at all. They played it one time. They lost. Why not pick Exposure? Maybe because of that loss that they had at LATs last time, which was like a month and a half ago. Why are we reminiscing on that, you know? these vetoes this whole year so far have just been trolls from these teams. I don't know, but we got the maps that we got, and at LAT, arguably probably should have lost 3-1. But I mean, FaZe ended up still winning anyway. I think it was like justice served because FaZe was up like 4-1 or something, and like the Den S&D and LAT won like 5 on the spin, and then like the Scar Overload, which was a troll from FaZe. But I mean, it goes either way because the Black Heart and then like the Den, maybe LATs could have won, you know, shoulda, woulda, coulda. Ended up being 3-2. It's a good win for FaZe. FaZe needs this win. They're 3-5 right now. I can't even believe looking at that. They're 3-5. Oh my god. Like, it doesn't even seem real when you actually look at it. They're 3-5. That is absolutely incredible. They're 3-5. That is absolutely insane. And I don't think they have a good schedule either. They're 3-5. Oh my goodness. They are so screwed. They have 3 more games to play, which means if they win all 3, they're only going to be 6-5. But they're probably not going to win all 3. They might win like 2 out of the 3. They got Carolina, Paris, Cloud9. So, I mean, they should win those. Paris have been playing really bad. I think they beat them like 3-2 last time. This is a big weekend for them. They only have 1 match this weekend. It's against Carolina, so they need to get that win. Like, they need that win. Thank God they have Cloud9 for the last match, so that's a guaranteed win. But they at least need Carolina and Cloud9. 100% they need those. If they don't get those, they're scamming. So we'll see. They're scamming. How did they even get in this position? You know, how did they even get in this position? We'll get more into it when we get to the OpTic FaZe series, where I'll rant a little bit more about FaZe, but I made a whole podcast about them last week, so why talk about it again? But they lost 3-0 to Miami to start the major qualifiers, and then they beat Koi and Vancouver 3-0, and then they lost 3-2 to G2, 3-1 to Falcons, 3-1 to Boston, 1 against LAT 3-2, and then we'll get to the last match. They arguably should have beat Boston. Obviously, they shouldn't be losing to that team, and they arguably should have beat Falcons and G2, to be honest. They probably should have won all 3 of those games. Record should be a lot different, but it's not because they troll. And let me take a look at the standings, bro. I should take a look at the standings after I go through the games, actually. It'll make it a lot more interesting. Maybe. Actually, no. I'll go through them now. I'll just lightly go through them right now. So we're on the Major 2 right now. OpTic has 80 points. So many people have 40. Everyone is playing so bad. This is actually insane, bro. You got Cloud9 bottom 1-5, and then there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 3 wins. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 teams with 4 wins. So, wow. And then OpTic with 8 wins. Like, OpTic's just already clear, like, in first place. Like, they're going to get that, like, no matter what. Just unbelievable. It looks like there's only, like, 1 team playing. Every other team just looks off it. Everyone's beating everyone. Everyone's losing everyone. This looks bad. But if FaZe get like 2 wins, they can automatically hop to like right to the top. You know, they can hop right to second place. But they need to get all 3 wins. And Paris also needs to get the wins too. So many teams have to get wins. I'm going to keep this actually open as we go through the rest of the game. This is actually incredible. As we go to Miami, beat G2 3-0. I'm not going to spend so much time on this, but I do got stuff to say about G2. I'll save the Miami stuff for the Miami LAT series. G2, not a good team. Okay, not a good team. I'm going to say some. No matter how Kremp does, I'm always going to like Kremp. I think Estro's a lot more consistent than I actually thought. I mean, he does have the best statistics on the team. I have seen that. But for some reason, I don't know what it is about him that just makes me not a fan of him as a player. I don't know what it is. Something about just like his game. I don't know. I just don't like it. For some reason, I just don't like it, even though he's the best performing player on the team. Mamba is way too consistent. On a team like this, you're pretty much enabled to be like the slaying AR, high interactions. He's high interactions, but he doesn't get enough kills, and he's very inconsistent. And when you're pretty much in that role where Sky's, I'm not going to say Sky's like an enabler, but Sky's plays slow enough to allow you to be like the faster player. You need to be able to get kills and be more consistent. If Mamba is like a 1.1 or like a 1.08 on this team, they'd probably win a lot more series. But he's too inconsistent. He's almost like too fast for his own good and does not get enough kills. There's a lot of players that have this problem, like 04, where they have high engagements, but the engagements don't result to kills, and it makes the whole system crumble. But G2 is like 4-3 right now. Like if I take a look at Hardpoint, engagements per 10, Kremp's like way ahead of everyone, but Mamba's like right there in second place. But the engagements just don't translate to kills, and he has the least amount of OBJ time. And if there's one thing I don't like ever on any team, if I was a coach or anything, if you have the lowest OBJ per 10 time on the team and it's by a significant amount, you better be getting the most kills on the team. Granted, OBJ players could get more kills because they're on the objective more. And, everyone's got to fly for the objective. But if your job is to roam around and get kills and you're not playing the hill and you're not getting kills, you're not doing your job. You're not helping the team. That's the whole point of being able to roam around, block spawns, rotate. I'm very confused as to why like Mamba's like their main rotator in Hardpoint. That kind of confuses me. That should probably be like Kremp or Estriel, but Estriel's the highest OBJ per 10 time on the team. I think they have their whole Hardpoint backwards. Their ARs are too inconsistent. I love how Skies has gotten so much better. We're going to talk about Skies in a second. I love how Skies has gotten way better, but there's never a time when both ARs are both doing good. It's like one does bad and one does good. That's not a recipe for success. We have to find a way for both to do good, okay? Have to find a way for both to do good. And I will say this about Skies. If I had to pick between dropping Skies or Mamba, I'm dropping Mamba. And it's not just because of what he replied to me on Twitter. That's not it. It's because Skies, regardless of what you want to say about Skies, Skies has he has a confidence and a personality that is hard to match. He actually has, regardless of what you guys want to say about how he's performing, he has a unbelievable, confidence, especially when things are going well, but he just has an overall confidence as a player. And he feels sometimes, especially when he's playing good, he feels like a veteran on the map. As opposed to a lot of players when they're frying, it just feels like they're literally getting cracked. When he's playing good, he feels like a veteran. Everything, he's reading everything, everything's flowing, the confidence is there. He's a player that if you make it to Championship Sunday, he could perform and do good for the team and help you get over that line, that mental hurdle and everything. He's that type of player, and he's great with the snipe and S&D. I don't know. I would drop Mamba before I drop Skies, but they're probably not going to drop anyone. They're probably going to try to figure it out, but I would definitely keep Skies over Mamba, that's for sure. That's just me. Let me just see their S&D stats real quick, because I know Mamba's very good at S&D. Yeah, he is. So Estriel's the main OBJ. He's got 39 plants. Holy cow. 39 plants. Insane. So Skies has 28 bloods. Mamba's got 22. If Skies using the sniper, definitely has to be a little bit more effective with it. But, everyone's playing good at S&D. They're pretty good at S&D. And they play Scar a lot, and people love them to play it. But this team's just in the middle. And honestly, Miami made them look like pub players this game, okay? That Scar, it was 250 to 224, whatever. The raid was 6-5, but I always thought Miami was going to win that. I think Miami actually had a big lead, and G2 slowly came back, I forgot. But the Scar, I watched the Scar, and it was 6-3, but the scoreline does not tell the story to that map. There was a point in time in the second half where I think G2 was in 2-minute spawn trap. And it felt straight out of pubs. Pubs where you're just have them pinned in the back, just slaying, getting your stats up, getting your streaks, getting everything. Miami literally treated them like pub players that last map. And I was like, wow, that is not fitting of a good professional Call of Duty team. If my team ever got spawn trapped like that, oh my god, we would be working on this map a day in and day out until it never happened again. I know spawn traps could happen, but holy cow, it felt like an eternity. They were just getting remontada on. And got to the point where at the end of the game, Super's taking out a pistol. He's trying to go for kill cams. just not good, man. Like, they were padding stats at their map. I'm not even gonna lie. Super went 33-17, dude. 33-17. It's so funny because everyone on G2, so for this overload on Scar, Estriel's got 25, Crimp's got 26, Mama's got 25, and they all have 27 deaths. And then Skies has 15 kills. So, like, significantly less than everyone else. But if you take a look at the damage, he's got 3,000 and Mama's got 2,800. So he's got 10 less kills, but he has 200 more damage, which means he's at least, you know, probably has a lot of assists. Probably has high elims in this game, I'm not going to lie. But, yeah, I treat them like pub players. Pretty much the story of that series, Miami G2. And then the next day, it's G2 against Paris. And G2 won 3-0 against Paris. Man, what do you really say about this one? I'm obviously going to talk more about Paris when we get to the Vancouver Surge series. So that'll probably be like the last series of the day when I really get into Paris. But G2 beat them 3-0. And that exposure overload, I think they got my notes a little bit too late, okay? Because I tweeted out these notes like right before the game, so probably wasn't enough time to look everything, but I wrote down a list of things that G2 needs to work on. There's literally fucking people in like the comments being retards, but if they follow this, I promise you it will improve. They got so much to work on in overload. They don't know how to take space in the middle of the map. They don't know how to play with the ball. Pause. There's just a lot of things they don't do. There's a lot of things they don't do. And the game kind of got carried away towards the end. I think when it was like 3-2 or like 3-2, they got like, they just kind of like put their controllers down like a bit. And then like G2 got a 2 overload scores on them. That map number one was close. It was 250 to 240. Paris could have won. And I was watching Paris. And I was watching G2. And G2 was not playing that good at all. But Paris said, hold my beer. I'm going to play just as worse. And for some reason, they've been trying to like... So even when they were like a top S tier team, their Scar was still questionable. Their Scar hardpoint is still questionable. And now it just looks even worse with the streak that they're on right now. It's actually way worse, and they're playing way worse. So I'm not sure what the solution is there. People aren't playing them on exposure because, you know, that's like their best map. They're pretty good at Den, even though they don't play it that much. And like they banned Blackheart, which just leaves like Colossus, and G2 picked it, but they never got the chance to play it. Very confused by these map bans, but I mean, Paris has to choose between Blackheart and Colossus. Definitely going to play G2 on Colossus. Paris should not be losing, but we'll get more into that when we get to their series against Vancouver, because that's where I put my foot down, okay? I put my foot down in this one, honestly. You should not be losing to G2. No disrespect to G2. Paris should not be losing to you, especially 3-0. If it's like a 3-2, you know, like Neslo, that could happen, sure. A 3-0 is unacceptable. A 3-0 is unacceptable. 3-0 is unacceptable. And now we're going to get to FaZe and OpTic as I take a sip of my water real quick as you enjoy some small dead air. Okay. OpTic beats FaZe 3-0. What more can you say? What more can you say? Okay, what more can you say? OpTic beat FaZe 3-0, 250 to 190, Scar hardpoint, 6-1 Den, 5-3 Scar. FaZe playing that map for some reason, trying to get Scar overload. They must not want to play exposure or whatever anymore, because they're trying to get Scar into like their picks, but 0-4 is just not good at it. So it is what it is. And there's some things I want to say about this. Okay, so we already talked about FaZe for like a long time. So I'm going to talk about OpTic real quick, and then I'll talk about FaZe. Hook is having a good stage 2. Something I find hilarious is when he was playing bad, people are like, I don't know about Hook, whatever. Starts playing good in this stage, and now everyone thinks he's like the best player in the world now. Hilarious how just opinions change. You can acknowledge he's playing good, but I swear to God, the way people are talking about him, they're talking like they didn't just say bad things about him before. Which is hilarious. And not really much to say about OpTic. I mean, like, they're cruising right now. I don't even think OpTic's playing that good right now, okay? And I guess that's a scary thing. OpTic's not even playing that good right now. That Scar hardpoint against FaZe, I think there was like the first P2. At the end of the P2, Hook was like the first guy off spawn, had free roto to P3 to get control of the plane. He hit sold instead, like an idiot. Almost cost them. But you want to know what? You're playing FaZe, so it doesn't really matter because FaZe is probably going to troll. And FaZe did troll, and OpTic got the P3. You know, small thing. There were small, like, just like lapses of judgment from OpTic on this map that in any other world against a good team costs you this game. But FaZe is just like bad, so it didn't cost them at all. So that's where I thought OpTic's just not playing that well. But FaZe is just like not good at all right now, so it's an easy 3-0 for OpTic. If OpTic faces any higher competition, like, you'll see it gets way harder and they won't look as good, but there's no one good right now, so they're just 8-0. Like, everyone else is terrible and they're good. And I'm going to go into a tweet because I'm also going to bring up tweets that I made. And I said, this iteration of OpTic Texas is one of the best COD teams I've ever seen, but in the same breath are terrible. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. And then Benjay in the comments says, you're going to have to explain this one, Chief. And I said, I'll explain on a future episode of The Flank. How are you doing? And I left it at that. And there are some people that agree with me. Obviously, some people that don't. I don't really look at all the comments because the comments on Twitter are hilarious. I'm not going to lie. Okay, so just like a small rant, okay? Just like a small little story. So when I tried to grow my Twitter in the beginning, okay, I almost had like no followers. I had like 20 followers. I forgot how small it was, and I was constantly getting people like to follow me, and it's growing. Twitter's growing and growing, and then I think I get to like 200. I got like 200 followers, okay, and I'm like, man, I really want more interaction on my tweets. I go into like the Zoom Mafia community. I start posting my opinions in there. People in the Zoom Mafia community are like, who is this guy? Like, who does this guy think he is? You know, every like post I make in Zoom Mafia, like, everyone just hates me. It's actually incredible. Everyone in there hates me. And then the whole thing with Kenny happens where I post in the Green Wall community, that viral thing that's changed my life forever. That viral thing, post in the Green Wall community. And then after, that's when everyone started going on my YouTube on streams. Shotzi was going on, JP was going on, Karma was going on. They're all looking. And then the second Shotzi goes like, oh yeah, this guy's brain dead. But I don't even think Shotzi meant it like maliciously. I think he was just like saying, oh yeah, this guy's just brain dead. The second he said that, and it was over like the funniest video, because at the time that video aged very well. It was like things that make Simp A tier and like fuck Shotzi F tier. However I fuck word it, just complete rage bait. And he's like, yeah, this guy's brain dead. But if you watch the video, like, it's very clear. All the evidence is right there. After that one, the Green Wall community on Twitter banned me. And I was banned on the Green Wall community. And you know what? I was not salty about it, but I was like, man, these motherfuckers are really trying to just like hold me back. You know, that's what I felt. And then I get word because, you know, I have my people. I have my insiders. And, you know, people are sending me on the Reddit. A COD Reddit I don't even go on. I don't even go on the Call of Duty Reddit. I literally don't go on there. And they're starting a petition on the COD Reddit to ban my name, showing me anybody posting BORI70. No one wants to... That has never happened in the Call of Duty space ever, where people are literally trying to ban... It's literally right here on my screen right now. You can literally see it on my screen. Right here. You can literally see it on my screen right here. A request to ban Borito videos and content. Like, bro, you guys don't even know me. You're trying to get me banned? You're trying to get my content banned? That is incredible. That is generational hate, by the way. Generational hate. But you know what told me? That told me I was taking a step in the right direction, because I, like a random person, you know, I see people all the time on Zoom Mafia trying to do hot takes and just nobody cares. Like, nobody likes the shit. Nobody sees the shit. Everyone's posting on Zoom Mafia to get other people to see. Nobody cares. I've got to a point where people care about my opinion and my opinions get traction. And, you know, I took this request to get burritos like thing, I took it as a compliment. I'm like, you care that much? You're that threatened by me that you're trying to get my videos and my content? Like, why? Like, what did I do to you? You know, like that. Like, we're just hating. We're just not trying to see. We're not trying to see an up and comer. That's pretty much what it is. We're not trying to see an up and comer. So then, what was the whole point of that story? Wait, did I just lose my train of thought? Okay, let me read this tweet again, and it's probably where it came from. This iteration of OpTic Texas is one of the best COD teams I've ever seen, but the same breath, terrible. If you know what I mean, you know what I mean. If you do know what I mean, you know what I mean, okay? I forgot what the whole point of that was. Maybe I already, like, said the point in the story, just completely forgot. And, if you know, you know. Like, they're not playing that great, but everyone is just so bad, so they look so good. And just no one's seeing it, because all everyone sees is 8-0. Oh my god, what are you talking about? You know? But it got 589 likes, you know? So there's definitely people that agree with me, you know? There's definitely people that agree with me. Like, you don't like it to, like, you know? You don't like it if you, like, you don't, like it, you know? But, you know, it is what it is. And then I followed up by saying this one. And this one I really meant with my whole heart. It didn't get as much, like, views, but I got way more likes, which means a lot more people must have, like, really fuck with this one. I said either JP is the best coach in the league and or the players on OpTic are just the best teammates you could ask for. OpTic is the only team in the league to have S-tier talent and actually implement a flexible system that trumps ego. Everyone follows it and creates consistent results. Some of the times OpTic looks sloppy and hardpoint, but it never matters because the foundation is so strong. The fact that teams like FaZe, LAT, and others look like they don't have a solid philosophy to rely on in respawns just leads me to believe that a lot of players just aren't coachable, and or coaches might just suck, honestly, respectfully. That one popped off, which means a lot of people must think that. Probably a lot of pro players are like that on the low. I don't even know. But I meant that one with my whole chest, okay? And, man, why are we not... These teams scrim OpTic all the time. You're telling me you don't learn anything playing them in scrims? Everyone talks about good practice, but it's like, you're getting great practice. Are you not learning anything? You're not getting any better? What is going on in these camps with these teams and having systems in hardpoint? OpTic plays sloppy hardpoint right now. Like, they're playing pretty sloppy hardpoint, but there's foundational things I see every player doing all the time on the map that's always going to create consistent results, that's always going to keep them in games, and most of the time get them wins. And that's what's happening. Who could make a stupid mistake hitting old when he should be rotating, but the foundation is so strong and they're able to recover from things like that? A lot of teams don't have that. And with FaZe, I mean, I talked about them last week, but just some quick thoughts on FaZe. Something I want to say about Simp, actually. So Simp is so good at this game, okay? Simp is so good at this game. I am mind blown that Simp is wasting arguably one of his best CODs on an SMG duo who they're building for the future, who they're preying on potential. Simp doesn't need potential. He needs someone who could do the job right now. I watched 04 single-handedly cost FaZe at Major 1. He was making the team play 3v4 pretty much all event. And they still somehow almost made it to a grand finals. But he said, no, I'm trolling in this 5-2 comeback. And he made sure they didn't make grand finals. Like, this is arguably one of Simp's best games, and his team is letting him down. Okay, his team's letting him down. Not so much Abuza, but the other two. Why is Simp hopping on the hills and people can't get his damn kills? If I had a player like Simp playing hill and holding his own, and my job was to roam and get kills and, like, make the map easier, bro, I'd be thriving. How many players, how many slayers, how many kill whores would pray for a person like Simp to be on their hill? How many people would want Simp as their SMG duo? And 04 has him. Can't even make the best of it. It's absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. And something I also want to say about Simp is whenever Simp decides to switch to a flex, he will quite literally be the best flex in the league. Seeing him play Scar Overload and pulling out the AR, I'm like, every time. Even in FW3, when we watch maps like Invasion and Sub Base, he is like a permanent 1.15, 1.2 with the AR in respawns. Like, he is so good and so consistent with the ARs, and his interactions are there. He's not like a slow AR. He's challenging. He's smashing. Like, he is so good with the AR. If this guy switches to a flex at any time and becomes like a second AR, third SMG, dude, and you get a good SMG duo, they could run the league. Like, he could literally be the best flex in the league. But he's so good with the SMG, so it's like, why give that up right now? But if he wants to, like, talent stack and get, like, Hydra and this person on the team, he could definitely switch to flex and run Worlds. And the team will be gross. Him being able to switch from an SMG to a AR whenever he wants, he should definitely, that's definitely something Simp should look into. I would say this year, but they already got Jaws and Abuza, but definitely something to look into next year. Like, being able to just be an actual flex. Let Simp do whatever he wants. Let him pull out the air when he wants. Let him pull out the sub when he wants. And have a dedicated SMG duo. And let Simp run whatever gun he wants. I swear to God, a team will absolutely fry. He could get superstar SMGs. He could just run the flex, have a good solid AR. And, dude, the sky's the limit there. But right now, he's on a team of just... He's on a team of liabilities right now. Abuza's the only saving grace, and I mean, I've liked Abuza since the start. I think Abuza's a breath of fresh air on this team. Comes down to the others. Mostly 04, I'm not going to lie. 04 is not really the greatest, but I already talked about that. I'm not going to talk about it again. 04 is just, like, not good. I'm not a fan, but the one saving grace I will say for 04 that I did question FaZe for, How were 04 and Abuza so consistent at Hardpoint last year, and then they come into this team and it's their most inconsistent game mode? That leads me to believe the problem's not just them. And it can't be the players, because Jaws and Simp are good players. It's definitely the fact that there's no system on this team, and they didn't bring a system that they had from Vancouver onto this team at all. And I thought that was the whole point, to bring them over. Teamwork, you know, et cetera, a system. But they don't have that. And the funny thing is, everybody Simp plays with just cannot do their job. He played with like Abizi last year, and he allowed Abizi to go be like the free roamer, but Abizi scammed a lot. And then like you have MC, who's like barely in the play half the time, and just has players around him just not doing the thing. Which is why this was just bad roster recruitment. Just getting players around you that just don't do much. Jaws has been inconsistent for like over a year now. I don't know what his freaking deal is right now. But he is getting better, though. He is getting better, but not good enough. He's supposed to be like the S&D Lord, but he's like not playing good at S&D at all. Is it the maps? But I mean, can't really blame the maps because, you know, none of these pros wanted to change them. So eat it, you know, eat it. That's all I got to say about the maps. But I'll leave FaZe at that, because I mean, I could ramble on them forever. This podcast will go over an hour. Toronto Koi against Riyadh Falcons, as I take another sip from my water real quick. This match was a real big test for Koi, okay? I said this as I was watching it in my Discord. If you're not in my Discord, the link is down below. Join the Discord. We watch part of the matches in the Discord if you want people to talk to while the games are going on. Have some fun in there. This is a very big test for Koi, okay? Because Falcons is a very gritty team. I even said in this tweet, so I'm actually going to go through this tweet first. And I said, I don't think Falcons is going to make a championship Sunday this year, but they are actually a really good team. I had them in F tier in my preseason rankings, and they have made me eat my words. They are not dirt terrible. They can be trolly, but they have solid hardpoint holds. Their teamwork looks better every time, and they make it hard to beat them. They are like the honey badger of the league. Got a real grit to them. Can also tell they have some sort of system and respawns. It's very evident to see, which makes these wins possible. So, I want to elaborate on that more. This Falcons team has proved me wrong. I'm not saying that they're like an S tier team, but right now, I mean, according to the standings, because everyone else is trolling, like they're a top team right now because everyone else is scamming. They are very good at Overload. They're the second best Overload team in the game right now. They're very gritty hardpoint. They're very gritty Overload team. They're very hard to beat in Overload. Like they have such a good defense, like Jose Mourinho-esque, where it's like they just have strong defense to hit you on the counter. And then after they get a lead, they start dictating the game more and more. They're very ratty. Like they got a certain personality of players where it's like that, like annoying to play against, you know, like hard to find, you know, but still hit you in the mouth, like type shit. And this Falcons team is proving just a very hard team to beat. They are very beatable. Don't get me wrong. Like they could get 3-0'd anytime. But if you're having an off day or things just aren't going as well for you, if you make a small little mistake, they will make you pay for it. They're one of the teams that can make you pay for it. And before I get into the series, I just want to go through the games that they played so far and see where these 3 losses came from. So they lost to Paris at the beginning, back when Paris was like fresh off the Major 1 win. They lost 3-1 to them. And then they lost 3-1 to Breach, you know, whatever. And then they beat Cloud9, they beat Carolina, and then they beat FaZe, and then they lost to G2, and then they beat Koi. Okay. Sounds about reasonable. And then their next game is Miami, LAT, OpTic. Oh my God. And then their last game is against Vancouver. So they got a hard 3 games coming up. So we'll see how they do there. They could finish like 5-6, honestly. They could finish like 5-6, like low key. If they could beat either Miami, LAT, or OpTic, I mean, they have a chance to win at least 2 out of 3 of those. I'm not going to lie. And maybe win 3 out of 4 of those games. Very well could. It would secure second seed for them, 100%. But thoughts on this series? This was a series that Koi needed to win. So it's like very confusing because I talk about how I don't rate Falcons that much, or I don't think they're that good, but at the same time that they're very good. It gets very confusing when I say that. If you know, you know. But they're actually a really good team. Like they're a really good team, but I could say someone's a really good team and still say they're not going to win anything, you know. They're actually like a really good team. They're actually getting better. I always thought AG was going to be a problem. There still is times where, I mean, like they played Blackguard. They played another map. We probably freaking see it. But he still does have his tendencies. He does. MC's playing good. Exod's getting better. He's finally watching VOD. Like, can't believe he wasn't watching VOD last year. That's mind-blowing. And then Kismet's Kismet. But they have a real grit to them. Koi played them on Blackheart, which is another thing I just want to talk about real quick. Just going on to like the streak of these idiot coaches and these idiot teams. I'm sorry. I'm going to start just like freaking cooking people now. Who is in charge of these map vetoes, brother? Who is doing these map vetoes all the time? So Falcons banned Den. Falcons don't get... Okay, so like, I want to show you how smart of a team that Falcons is, okay? Falcons is like the number 2 Den hardpoint team behind Koi. Like, they're a very good team. They could easily score up on Den hardpoint against Koi because that's our best map. That's what Falcons would think. That's our best map. But they know Koi is good at it. So why even take the risk? It's the only good map that they have. So they take away Den hardpoint from them. Smart vetoes. People using their brain. Koi bans Colossus. Why? Koi doesn't like playing Blackheart. They ban it like all the time. They finally play with Real. They found out why they don't like it because they literally suck at it. I made a whole hardpoint video about it. And then they decided to play it. Oh, maybe we got Kips. Maybe it's freaking different. They play Blackheart against Falcons, which is like their other best map besides freaking Den. You know? Their other best map is Blackheart. So, so you play them on Blackheart, and then you lose quite handedly. Don't know why you picked that. But they did pick Exposure Hardpoint, which was a good pick, but they just never made it there. But bad Hardpoint vetoes out of Koi. I don't know why they didn't ban Blackheart. I have no idea. Definitely would have had a better chance of Colossus or any other map. And then, yeah, it's pretty much it. But also, for Overload, I guess Koi doesn't play it that much. And I guess maybe they didn't want to go against an AR of MC. But I mean, like, they got pretty good ARs. Falcons banned Den, which is Koi's best Overload. but Falcons is also really good at exposure. I guess Koi just thought they're still good at it, but maybe they should have taken a chance at Scar. Maybe they should have taken a chance at Scar and tested their luck, because Falcons don't play that map. And nobody plays that map, so it's pretty much an even playing field for every team. Koi's also just 0-1 at it, like they don't play it at all. So them getting 3-0'd was not good for seeing where they are. Like everyone thought, oh, now that everyone else is bad, Koi's going to be like the number 2 team in the league. Turns out they're just like everybody else. They're just average Joes. And, you know, like they had a small honeymoon period. Kips is playing good right now. He has a very high Slayer rating. He's actually matching Joe's pace, which has been very hard for everyone else to do. Like, freaking insane. But he's actually matching it. He actually has a higher engagement per 10 than Joe. Granted, he has less of a sample size, but I mean, he does have sample size by now, and he has the highest OBJ per 10 on the team. He has the highest OBJ per 10, highest engagements per 10, and the highest freaking damage in hardpoint. Like, he's actually, him in hardpoint, he's actually, like, really improving their hardpoint. Except for Blackheart. And he's also good at S&D. Like, he's actually doing better than everyone. Everyone else is just terrible at S&D. Holy cow. He's actually, like, just freaking overall, literally just like a great player. Holy cow. He's frying. So, this is a map for Koi that they lost, and it pretty much shows that they're an average team and they could lose to anyone. No progress was made by this. They're 4-4 right now. If we take a look at their completed matches, they lost 3-0 to Carolina. They lost 3-0 to FaZe. They lost 3-1 to LAG. And then they beat G2 3-0, beat Miami 3-0, beat Paris 3-0, lost the Falcons 3-0. And then they beat Boston 3-0. And we're probably going to glaze over that series late. I'll glaze over it now. Frick that series. Koi beat Boston 3-0. Boston's not that great. Boston. Okay, I'll actually get to this series when I get to it. It's like right around the corner. No. Now I'm getting to it now. Hold on. I'm going to get to this one right now. I'm going to skip ahead to this one. Boston is dumb. They allow Den Overload, Koi's best map, instead of picking exposure. But Boston doesn't play anything because, like, they don't even practice. Like, apparently, they're just not good at anything. Like, they don't freaking like exposure. They're 0-2 at it. They only play Den Overload. It's the only map they play. I mean, like, they also play Scar, but it's like they play their best map, but it's Koi's undisputed best map. They beat every team on that map. Boston scores up, loses 8-0. Good job, guys. Good job. Okay, good job. They lose the raid 6-3. Scar 250 to 144. I just watched Boston play Cloud9 on that map, which, I mean, I guess I'll skim through that one as well because that one doesn't matter either. There's a lot of these games that actually don't matter. So, Boston beat Cloud9 3-1, okay? So this was before the Toronto Koi series. This was a day before. They beat them 3-1. I watched that Scar hardpoint, which was 250 to 176 in favor of Boston against Cloud9. I was watching that Scar hardpoint, and I was like, man, Boston's not playing this good at all. But thank God they're playing Cloud9 because Cloud9 is just, like, absolutely terrible. But I watched the map, and Boston was not playing good at Scar hardpoint. But these idiots, for some reason, I'm not sure if there's a coach or whatever, but they got some sort of false confidence off of that map. And I just, like, knew. I was watching them play a map. I was like, this was not good. I was hoping somebody after the map would be like, man, we just didn't play freaking good at all. But I think this guy Snoopy, I'm not going to lie. So I think Snoopy is very talented. Okay, I think Snoopy is very talented, but I just think he's an idiot. Like, I actually genuinely think he's an idiot. Because sometimes he's got to read the room and, like, see where you are. Right now, Boston's 3-5 right now. And they beat Cloud9, and he's, like, so happy. You see the big smile on his face. Like, they beat him. Even on the first map, they beat him 250 to 176. He's smiling. I'm like, why are you smiling? You guys did not play a map good at all, smiling. They end up freaking beating Cloud9 at the end. He's so happy. I'm like, brother, you should just be straight-faced, like, just honestly bored. I don't care if you're pretending. Like, fucking pretend that cool. You should just be like, man, nah, whatever. We do this all the time. Like, we beat Cloud9. That's how you should be acting. Like, he's so happy to beat Cloud9. He's so ecstatic. That's not the sign of a champion to me. That's not the sign of someone that's used to winning if we're celebrating against Cloud9. The rest of his team was like, whatever. Snoopy's so happy. Just, like, not reading the room. Not reading the room. I don't know why. That, like, bugs me. Like, they didn't play them out good at all, but they all of a sudden just thought, oh, we're good at this map. We're just going to play Koi on it. And we lose 250 to 144. Good job, guys. Good job. I mean, the funny thing is, I think Spart and Nasty are a good AR duo. Granted, they got fired this series, but it's because like their SMGs can't do anything. Purge had 37 kills this series. That's like one hardpoint map. Like, freaking come on, man. Unbelievable. Like, it's almost like he didn't have any kills. Holy cow. This guy was getting fried. I think the AR duo is good. Like, Nasty and Spart has potential to be a championship AR duo. Like, contending on championship Sundays. I know it sounds crazy, but I actually believe in it. I just think their SMGs are just severely letting them down. In my opinion. Their SMGs are really holding them back. If they upgrade both of them. But I know that's the bad thing. I know it's not going to happen, though. Because they love Snoopy. They're never going to get rid of Snoopy. If they drop Purge and Snoopy and picked up an actual good SMG duo, an actual slaying SMG, good consistent SMGs, an objective OBJ SMG who could hold his own, a slaying SMG, this team could contend against anyone. That's just my opinion. I think the Nasty Spart AR duo is a good AR duo. Like, that is an AR duo that could actually contest. But they need SMGs, dude. They need good SMGs. They're like 2 SMGs away, not 1. I think it's actually a 3-person change. Like, they got rid of Cammy. I think they should get rid of both SMGs, but I just know they're not going to do it. They would only do 1. But Purge and Snoopy are hanging on by a thread to this friendship cheese that they have. And no one's forcing a change on this team, which is unbelievable. I think Snoopy just has like the keys, so like you just can't drop him, so it'd have to be Purge. But dude, come on, dude. We gotta start seeing the light. This team is so dumb. I'm not talking about Nasty. I'm not talking about Spart. I already have my rant about Nasty. Go listen to that podcast. 2 podcast episodes ago. He's in the title and thumbnail. You'll see it. But Purge and Snoopy are just so dumb. Like, the coaches must be dumb too, because no one's seeing this shit. I've been seeing, like, wake up, guys! Wake the fuck up. I'm tired of seeing this shit. You guys suck. Make changes. You guys suck. Make changes. If we go into this Boston team, Purge is at 0.87. 0.87. And you want to know what annoys me the most? How could you be an 0.85 in hardpoint and have like the lowest OBJ per 10 on the team? That makes no sense. You're not doing anything. Both their SMGs, an 0.85 and an 0.92. And both their ARs have higher OBJ per 10 than them, which means they're running around doing nothing. Literally doing nothing. Get rid of both of them, but they're not going to do that. 12 and 17 at hardpoint. 9 and 12 at S&D, 7 and 9 at Overload. There's not one saving grace in their gameplay besides the Colossus hardpoint, which they so happen to be 6 and 3 on. I think they only played scrubs on that map. But they have no bread and butter. They're not good at hardpoint. They keep saying, oh yeah, we're going to get better. We're going to slam everyone. I got that shit saved, Snoopy. Like, I heard you say we're going to start slamming everyone. Didn't age well. You beat Cloud9 after you beat FaZe. Congratulations. Start playing a little bit of heavy hitters. You start to look like pub players. Unbelievable. Like, just unbelievable the decisions being made over there. I don't want Spart to get costed. I think Spart's a great player. Nasty's a great player. They need 2 good SMGs. They need to get rid of all the dead weight that was on this org to turn this org into a championship roster. They're 10th in the CDL standings. That is not good. They only have 6 wins. We're stage 2. They played all the Major 1 qualifiers, which was 7 games. They played the Major, and now we're like 8 games in. So like 17 games, they have 6 wins. Not good. Not good. Anyways, I'm going to save Paris and LAT like for last. I'm just going to go through all these other ones. So, Koi definitely has to do better. Okay, Koi's definitely got to do better. I think they slowly get rid of Insight. I know Insight's playing better. Insight's playing better. I feel like they need to get rid of him. I think they need to move him from Insight. He's not doing it for me. He made big plays against Paris. He's making big plays. He's a very smart player still. Don't get me wrong. but with the pace that this team would play at if they had like a better AR, who's just like better, like just better. Like Insight's not doing anything, and S&D not really doing much in Overload. Let's take a look at the team stats. But I mean, I don't really care about the team stats. I don't think he's doing much. He's 0.9 in S&D, and he has like the sniper. So I mean, I don't really know what's going on there. He only has 14 bloods with the sniper. Joe has 33. Yeah, he's just not doing it for me. I don't care what his KD is. Insight's not doing it for me. Like, they gotta get rid of him. But who knows? They probably just won't. Friendship cheese, org cheese, whatever you want to call it. But I still think they need to make that change. Okay. OpTic versus Carolina. I'm going to get through this one before we go to LAT and Paris last. Save the best for last. And I mean, I'll probably take a small intermission, catch my breath before I get into those ones. But OpTic beat Carolina 3-1. I actually thought Carolina played OpTic closer than any other team. Everyone's just saying, oh, OpTic won 3-1. It is what it is. Carolina's ass. Don't get me wrong. Carolina's bad. But I think Carolina played them very close. Like, they beat them on the Blackheart. OpTic played Blackheart for the first time. And, I mean, this leads me to another tweet I made. Where I said, okay, I have a lot of LAT stuff in here that we're actually going to get to. But I said, it is extremely mind-blowing to me how the top teams are not good at Blackheart. Just from a square perspective, they should be handling teams. But the map itself is so simple to learn. And I meant everything I said. I mean everything I say there. Because the map is so simple. OpTic had the players for it. I think it's just because Shotzi can't flank on that map. If it's not a big enough map for him to flank on, he just sucks. Like, he's 19 and 34 headbanging. Tells you everything you need to know about Shotzi. What I say about Shotzi is not just a catchy saying, like, I have evidence to back it up. Hook is frying on this map. He's a headbanger. Merc's frying on this map. All Dashy does is soak the hill now, and he just, like, does his thing. If Shotzi can't flank, he's, like, pretty bad. If he's just straight on, if Shotzi is just headbanging, if he's just channeling straight every time, he's just, like, going to be negative all the time. Like, he's a supreme player, but he needs to flank. Like, he needs flank in his veins in order for him to function. And I'm seeing it. You're going 19 and 34 against Carolina on Blackheart. Like, come on, man. Come on. Carolina played that Dennis and D pretty close, but then they lost 6-4. Could argue they could have won that. The Overload, OpTic's just like the best Overload team in the game. I don't think Carolina had a chance on that. And then Carolina insists they are good at Colossus hardpoint, but they insistently and consistently keep losing at it. So it might be good in scrims, brother, but it's not translating to the matches where you have to actually make like the big plays in the matches in order to actually win the map, just so they know. But yeah, they keep playing Colossus. Let's take a look at the map view. So they banned Scar. I definitely would have played OpTic on Scar, but to each their own, fucking teams make bad map views all the time. Carolina banned Raid. Why not play OpTic in Raid? I mean, I know OpTic's like pretty good at Raid, but they're beatable at that. Why play them on Den? It's like their best. It's like their other like best S&D. They're just pretty good at everything right now. And then for Overlord, Carolina banned Scar. OpTic's just going to pick Den. I mean, you're pretty much trapped there. I don't think OpTic actually would have picked Scar Overload. I don't think they would allow Blackheart Hardpoint and Scar Overload in the same series. But to each their own. I mean, like, they're 5-2 on Scar Overload. Actually, maybe they would. But Carolina play that map, and they're not that bad at it. Am I faded? Actually, I'm pretty sure LAT slammed them on that map. I'm pretty sure in qualifiers, like last qualifier, Major 1 qualifiers, Carolina was like pretty good at that map. And now all of a sudden they just can't play. Oh, what a surprise. What a surprise. OpTic 16-4 overall at Overload this season. Incredible. 16-7 at S&D. 18-11 at Hardpoint, only getting better. They're 1-5 at Den Hardpoint. They're exactly like FaZe. Can't play that map. What the hell? A lot of teams can't play freaking Den Hardpoint. I actually don't understand. Hook undisputedly got 339 out of 350 votes. Holy cow, for MVP that series. I mean, he's just pretty much for cooking noobs. I know a lot of people say OpTic's going to win the major because they're the only good team right now. Okay, they're the only good team right now. But I need you to understand. Okay, I said the same thing at Major 1. People didn't listen, and it happened. I will make sure OpTic does not win Major 2. Just wait for what I release after the qualifiers are over. And I'll leave it at that. But OpTic are in pole position to win Major 2, obviously. The only good performing team. But there's still 3 weeks left. There's pretty much a whole month left. 3 weeks. A lot could happen in 3 weeks. Trust me. Teams could decline. Teams could incline. Anything could happen in 3 weeks. 3 weeks is a lot of time for Call of Duty. Things change. Like, sometimes I go back in my videos like 2 weeks ago. I'm like, oh my God, that was a long time ago. You know? Things change a day to day. Things could change week to week. Teams can figure out, hopefully. Please. But yeah, we're going to take a quick commercial break, and we're going to come back and end off with talking about LA Thieves and Paris. Don't go anywhere. This is the Borito Talk podcast. Can't wait to show you guys this product, unless you already knew about it. But this episode of the Borito Talk podcast is sponsored by Blacklight, redefining comfort and performance where work meets play. Blacklight makes the best premier ergonomic gaming chairs and desks in the gaming space and are partnered with some of the biggest brands and teams such as the Blast Premier for Counter-Strike, Team Spirit, Team Liquid, Fnatic, Toronto Koi, Toronto Raptors, and even Epic Games Fortnite Championship Series. Blacklight gaming chairs are engineered for peak performance and comfort. They blend ergonomic support with premium materials to keep you focused for hours. They feature adjustable lumbar support, 4D armrests, a high-density foam seat. It adapts perfectly to your body and play style. Whether you're grinding rank matches or working long hours, this chair delivers unmatched durability, breathability, and all-day comfort, your ultimate throne for victory. Alright, so for those of you on video as well, let's take a look at the cable management tray. It's a heavy-duty cable management tray too. Look how clean under your desk could be, and it holds the wires with absolutely no fuss. Also has an adjustable desk with 4 presets already there. You can edit them yourselves as well, which is incredible. So let's say you've been sitting down all day, you want to get the blood flowing, you could stand up at the click of a button, sit down again at the click of a button, no fuss at all. And I know a lot of ads don't really talk about the price, but let's talk about it. I would look at this as an investment in the overall well-being of your body, the same way you would invest extra in a bed so you don't wake up every day with aches and sores. If you use your desk every day, you use your chair every day, you're going to sit down the first day and be like, yep, I made such a great decision. You're going to be so comfy. And it's scientifically engineered to make your day as comfortable as possible. So go Blacklight. All that being said, just to say, I have a little bit of a code for you, a little 15% off code for you. It is BORI70 Burrito at checkout for 15% off. BORI70, not case sensitive. Enter it whatever way you want. Everything uppercase, everything lowercase, whatever what you want. BORI70 for 15% off at Blacklight. And if they have any sales, it's an extra 15% off of whatever they have on sale. So take advantage, level up your game, feel better every day when you go on your setup, and go Blacklight. Now back to the podcast.
Oh yeah, this is the one I'm winning in.
I had to pick between this chair and my girlfriend. I picked this chair every time.
Okay guys, welcome back to this episode of the Borito Talk podcast. We're gonna talk about LA Thieves and Paris Gentlemates now. Let's start with LA Thieves as they lost 3-2 to Miami, and I thought this was a very good series out of Miami. I'm not gonna lie. I always like seeing teams grow, and I love seeing these teams that we have in like the mid pack, higher up, play the supposed top teams and play them very well and actually like beat them too. And you could say LAT could have won this series. You could say that. They definitely could have won this series. They definitely could have. But they didn't, and Miami won. So it's a good series out of Miami. So it was 250 to 195 Den. LAT, I'm actually going to go through this map on Thursday. So tune into those streams when I go through that. I'm definitely going to go through that map because LAT should have won that map. Hydra was scamming, and it just highlighted pretty much a lot of the problems that LAT has when it comes to Hardpoint, and just in general. And then a 6'5 Colossus. I mean, super sniping every round. We're trying to throw pre-nades, P4 statue out in the open. Instead, I would have much rather had them on that 5'5 just rush the statue as opposed to playing slow on the statue. Or just like a go P1 or go A. Obviously, probably not go P1. That's probably not good. Or just go A, but he could be sniping A. I would have much rather just rush statue, pretty much takes the sniper out of it and makes him have to like sit back or pull out his pistol, and you could just chow like the other people. Like 2 guys hit P1, two guys hit statue, and they could have flooded it. They could have did something like that, but they didn't do that. And then they won 3-1 Scar Overload, and then they won 250, 184 Exposure Hardpoint, and then Exposure S&D. This is where it comes down to the map vetoes. Let's get into the map vetoes real quick. Let's get into these map vetoes. So, LAT banned Blackheart. Thank God. Okay. Miami is good that map, but they haven't played in a while. But, you know, why take the risk? That's fine. Miami's always going to ban Colossus. They love banning Colossus. They didn't ban for S&D this time, which is actually like impressive to see. I think they must have got better at a hard point and they allowed it through. So Miami picked Den, which is LAT's best map, which is actually crazy impressive out of them to pick it. LAT picked Exposure, which is a great pick out of them. LAT banned Scar S&D because Super just snipes on that map, so they banned it, and they usually like playing it. And then Miami banned Den S&D. LAT's had a lot of reps on it lately. Miami's kind of been trolling it. That's a good ban for Miami. Miami is one of the rare teams that's actually pretty good at their map vetoes and actually put some thought into it. A lot of teams don't put thought into it. And then the S&D. Why did LAT pick Colossus? I'll never know. Maybe they didn't want to face super sniping on raid as well, but you can't be that afraid of them. You just can't play any fucking big map because you just snipes on every map. You gotta play him on raid. Miami's not that great at raid. Whatever. And I guess LAT is just not that good at raid either, but still, I mean, why play Colossus? Colossus is so fluky. Like, I mean, I know a lot of teams, so like, we wonder why teams always complain about these maps and then they play them over and over again. And I think it's just because it's like just like a plain leveler, I guess. Like, it's just like a bad map, and it just kind of just comes down to just like the most basic stuff of just like chow, like very simple stuff, and it doesn't take as much strategy. But it could also cost you because it ends up being a 50-50 map, because it is a 50-50 map. These maps are 50-50 maps, and that's why they pick them. So they're just like gambling pretty much, as opposed to like picking a map that requires some skill, like Raid S&D. And then they allow Miami to pick Exposure S&D, which that map is up there for the worst maps. Like, there's like 3 S&D maps that have to go. Colossus, Exposure, and Scar all have to go for S&D. We should only have Den and Raid for S&D. The other 3 maps have to go. They're all terrible. They are absolutely terrible. Exposure, I mean, I thought Colossus was terrible, but Exposure might be up there. The map for S&D is just so weird. It's just so weird. Not only are the bomb sites weird, like that B bomb is like so far back on the overload point, like past like the solar panels, like you pretty much plan it, and there's not many places to go. You know, there's not many like, I remember playing S&D and like the good CODs, and you would plant and there'd be places to go, space to take. That is just like, the map is brain rot. I played sometimes and I'm like, what am I going to do on this offense? If I could go mid, he could be top P3, but he can also see me from the P5 side as well. Can't really go on the P5 side because it's like one way. If he's sniping or if he's AR, I just pop on a heady, he just like frick kills me. If you go B side, solar panel side, it's like all pretty like one-dimensional. You can't take any routes. You can't do anything on the map. Just a bad map. And LAT trolled some clutches on that map, and just not looking good for them, and they lost 6-2. So, a good win out of Miami, but they, I guess that's kind of typical for LATs. At least T has a pretty good map set against Miami. It was just kind of like these trolly S&Ds that I know LAT was probably complaining about that they lost. But yeah, I just want to highlight some stuff about LAT. Let's talk about LAT a bit. So I'm going to highlight this first tweet I made. Hydra plays hardpoint like he's still teaming with Priesta, Kismet, and Skies. And, you know, like, this tweet blew up. This shit blew up. I just, like, tweeted it. I was like, it's like the first thing that came to my head after I first saw that hardpoint. I'm like, this guy still plays hardpoint like he's playing with his old NYSL team. And then Priesta goes, it's a compliment. I'm confused. And I said, it means Hydra doesn't have players around him that enable him like you did. And I'm freaking talking so fast. Okay. What I mean by this tweet, let me elaborate, because now that I'm on my podcast, I can elaborate. And it means exactly pretty much what it says. Everything I've said, and even in the reply, everything I've said. Hydra still plays like he's playing with his old NYSL team. He's playing like he has players that are going to hop on his hill for him and just do the dirty work for him and just allow him. Like, Hydra still plays like he's in the Hydra zone. Like, he doesn't play like a player who has teammates that he has to uphold responsibilities to help. You know, he doesn't play like that. He still plays like the Hydra of old, except he doesn't have those teammates that he knows the hill's always going to be covered. You know, everything he wants is going to be covered. Like, those teams literally, like Priesta, Kismet, Skies, and D-Roll, like the coach. I think Sandra was also on that team too. All of them, okay, all 5 of them, plus Hydra, engineered that team to get the best out of Hydra. Like, literally engineered that team for Hydra to be able to do whatever he wants. And it worked for them because Hydra is able to do whatever he wants, and if he does whatever he wants and everything else is covered, pretty much make up for it. It came to an end when he realized, okay, I actually needed some people that could get some more kills, but now we're seeing where that's actually getting you. Sometimes you never know a champ until it's gone. But that team was literally catered for him. They babied him. He had Priest, the Kismet, Skies, players that would never talk bad like to him. Players who were literally bending over backwards to get the best of him. Players that were always nice to him, always made him feel good. Now he's on a team with actual, like, I mean, I'm not going to say they're not champions. All of them are champions now. But he's playing on a team with players with egos, players that are used to being superstars. You know, that's who he's teaming with now. But he's still playing like he's playing with players that are playing for him. And obviously, every player has to play for each other. But Hydra is not grasping the concept of playing for others in his gameplay. He may talk about it in practice, you know, like we hear the practice goes great. We hear some things Hydra says, it's lovely, but it's not translating to the gameplay. And he is, if I had to pick one person on this team who is the biggest reason as to why they're not succeeding right now, it's Hydra. And it's not because his numbers aren't up. Everyone's talking about Hydra's not putting up the numbers that he used to. I think it is genuinely like the way he plays. I know what it's like. Granted, we could talk about ranked or 8. It's not the same as pro level play, but it's very easy to see if you're like a good player and you actually like know like how good Call of Duty is played. When you're playing a game, you could tell when one person is not doing their job how much harder the map feels, and like how like you could have won if this one person was playing. Like, I feel like it feels like that. Like, they're all good players and they're probably wondering why they don't win, and it's because like one player in a lot of different scenarios is not doing the right thing, or another player's not doing the right thing. Like, players just aren't doing the right thing, and that is Hydra. He still plays like he's playing with his old NWSL team. Like, he has not shook that off because ever since he came in, he's always been catered around, and this is his first time playing with other players who, honestly, like a lot of times have stuff built around them or just able to do whatever they want. So now he's playing on a team with a bunch of green light players. And they all have to learn to play at a yellow light for each other, a red light for each other. You know, they need to learn how to do that. They still haven't learned that. And this gets me to another tweet that I made, but this one was solely based on this series. So I thought that exposure hardpoint win from LAT was great. Hydra started off like 2-12 on that map, and then they came back and won. I think they were down like 100, and then they came back and won 250 to 184. It was such a great hardpoint at them. I'm not gonna lie, that was such a great hardpoint. If you watch that map, I would highly recommend going and watch the map. That map was absolutely phenomenal out of them. And I said the way LAT played that exposure hardpoint when they were down almost 100 is the same way they should play all the time. People were forced to play around the hill. It evoked teamwork, and they looked great. The second half of the exposure was phenomenal from them. Also, Miami has an insane P3 hold, almost unstoppable. I think teams need to stop hitting the window and just do 2-3, hit bottom control, one guy solar, and last guy play late window, or go control with the other two. I don't even know what I said there. Oh my God. I think I just read that wrong. Flying through the window is just not the wave unless there's a distraction. Okay. So I thought they played that great. And when they were down, in that exposure hard point and the way they started playing, you started seeing everyone start to focus their gameplay around the hill. You saw Hydra and Abizi on the hill trading out people in the back. You saw everyone start to focus, and you saw their shape start changing. You started seeing Hydra stray away less and started straying more towards the hill. Everything was more centered on the hill, and their hardpoint looked phenomenal. Why not play hardpoint like that all the time? They would be so much better. They have the skill to like literally hold every team back and like 100-point club every team, but they're just not putting it together on paper. And this is going to get me into another tweet that I said about the LA Thieves. Let me take a sip of my water real quick. Oh my God. I said, I remember in the preseason being so excited in the prospect of seeing Hydra, Scrap, and Abizi playing on the same team, even though I thought the combo was questionable. Felt like a pay-per-view, but I don't even look forward to watching them play anymore. The brand of Call of Duty they play is so uninspiring, doesn't feel fitting of a team of that caliber. I think egos is one of the biggest problems. Listen to my podcast episode on Thieves for more context, because it may affect the way they get coached. They should honestly be slamming everyone. They need to see the bigger picture in so many different ways. Niem is great, by the way. He is not an issue. He's a breath of fresh air. I'll talk more about it on Tuesday's podcast. And you want to know what day it is? It's Tuesday, and I'm going to talk about it. So where should I start? Where should I start with this? I don't even look forward to watching them play Call of Duty anymore. The brand of Call of Duty they play. This is where I want to start. I think the egos is one of the biggest problems. So I made a whole podcast episode. Go back and listen to it. You could search it up on my YouTube, all that stuff. Talking about LA Thieves. I listed 3 problems each individual player had. And it was with Kenny at the time, but it still holds for the other 3 of things that I think they need to work on to get the best out of the team. And now they got Niem. Niem's great. I don't think Niem really has a issue right now, honestly. I don't think he has an issue. He's actually grown into the team. I remember the first series, he was looking a little bit nervous. Now he's actually like getting better and playing better. He looks a lot more confident on the map. Just like I heard Temp saying, I think Niem needs to snipe an S&D. I thought that was a great take from Temp. Him sniping an S&D would definitely make the world difference. I think Hydra and Scrap play great together on the map. Hydra loves playing with Scrap. He'll bait for Scrap. Like, they actually play for each other. If they're running at you in S&D and Abizi's there, leave Niem be the island player. Scrap and Hydra have a lot more chemistry together. Let them use that chemistry on the map in S&D, and then Abizi's also there being aggressive with them. If they just do 3-1 splits around the map where like a Niem plays the island everywhere, and then like the other 3 play together. I even like the way like Niem and Abizi play together. I actually think they play like pretty good together on the map as well. Freaking Niem's just a breath of fresh air. But the egos is one of the biggest problems. So there's a lot of points I made on my podcast, but I want to elaborate on this ego point even further. So even when they had Kenny on the team, they complained about it. I know they complain about overload, like they hate overload. They hate the concept of the mode. They hate overload. I know they hate the maps. I know they hate the S&D maps. You see Scrap complaining about them all the time. I think that ego, that small ego in that sense, there's so many different ways this ego gets in the way, so I'm going to take this into different points. I think the ego of just not wanting to like truly get better at overload, like they hate it so much that I don't think they're putting proper efficient effort into getting better at it because they just hate it so much. And I know players like this, like the Abizis and the Scraps, like they just love to complain. They love to complain, and I'm not sure how much they actually take into getting better when like they really don't like something. And they really don't like overload, and I don't see them improving at overload. They're good at Scar because it's the one map where you just pull 3 ARs and you kill Horror and you just run straight up the map. It's a pretty simple map to play. Den and Exposure have a lot more cuts and angles. It requires a bit more team coordination and a lot more knowledge on how to play overload the game mode, and you could tell they don't like playing those maps. They don't like playing Den. They try to play Den. They lose it a lot. And they need to get better at it. And it's not hard to get better at it. They just need to put their ego aside and really, really get better at it. And another thing has to do with the ego. And this is going to take me into a rant about coaches a bit, okay? This is going to take me into a rant about coaches a bit, and then I'm going to come back to LA Thieves. I think a lot of coaches in this league lack aura and lack presence. I'll repeat that again. I think a lot of coaches in this league lack presence and lack aura, because even from like the documentaries I watch, you know, all these teams do different documentaries, all the videos I watch, like I'm pretty good at like observing human behavior, human body language and everything. And I feel like there's just so much of these coaches that I don't feel like players like fully like respect their authority / opinion, like if that makes sense. And especially players like a higher caliber like Scrap and Hydra. I mean, I'm not speculating. I mean, I am speculating. Don't take what I say as the Bible. This is my speculation. I know Hydra loves Sender. Like, Sender's on that team because of Hydra. Hydra wanted him. He loves Sender as a coach. But especially when things are going bad and people have egos, and let's say Benjay's actually telling the truth, and like people are being late to practice, and like, you know, just the ego, you know, like they're like actually like acting like superstars in like the wrong sense, in like the negative way. If they're acting like that, like, do they really have coaches that are really putting them in their place? And do they have coaches that they really expect their opinion? Like on the map, Hydra's been doing the same dumb shit for 5 months and it's still happening. Leads me to believe, you know, maybe they're telling him, but maybe they're not like screaming it at him. Because like, honestly, and that's another thing when it comes to just like pro players in general, like how everyone has to be so nice to each other. I think some people need to be yelled at. And like, you can yell at somebody and still not be negative, but everyone just takes it like the negative way. But sometimes you need to like raise your voice and be a little bit mean to get your point across, and just hope they don't take it personal. Nothing is personal. We're just trying to get better. And I feel like Hydra hasn't had a wake-up call like that. I don't think Hydra has people talking to him like in that kind of way for him to really understand and really change stuff. I feel like a lot of coaches, I don't even want to name names, but like I have a very glaring example from a documentary I watched, and it's the first thing that came to my mind. And I could say this about a lot of teams, like Boston. The players are a bunch of idiots. Like, I know maybe the coaches just don't want to say anything because they're all in like a fucking team house. You don't want to be enemy for fucking number one. You know, you don't want to be that type of person. You don't want your job at risk. You know, you don't want to say too much. I know like a lot of coaches feel more like babysitters, like more like parents, making sure that making sure like their kids have like the juice in the juice box, you know, have like the juice in the lunch kit, you know, have the snacks, you know, and they're not really like coaches. Like, and that's why I'm really high on Rambo. Rambo brings authority. He has a presence, but he's not like a dictator. But he, like, the work he did in that Vancouver team should have locked him a spot this year. I don't even know why. It just shows how bad most organizations are with just like decisions. Like, Rambo would be a way better coach on this LAT team than what they have right now. No disrespect to the coaches on there, but I just think I think big personality players need a big personality coach, or just a no coach at all. But that only worked in the old days. But I think in the new age, like, these big personalities need like a big personality coach who could like reel things in, make some authority, really get them on the same page. And I feel like a lot of teams don't have that. They have a lot of teams, just like LAT, have very passive coaches. And I'm not trying to disrespect and say, oh, whatever, but I don't even know. But I see what I'm seeing, and I see we're 5 months in. How much time do you need? We're 5 months in. Your team should be slamming, and you're not. That is a direct correlation of not so great coaching and not so great players taking in information. You know, obviously, like, all these players are talented, but talented in the other sense, the mental aspect, the teamwork aspect, is another thing entirely. And I think that sort of ego, because I said in brackets, it may affect the way they get coached. Because like these egos having to deal with big personalities, maybe you don't want to ruffle feathers and don't want to say some things. I know a lot of coaches hold their tongue with a lot of things and don't say things like the way like they want to say it, because, you know, like maybe like your job might be like, you know, like if coaches had more security, if they had more like support from like the hierarchy of organizations, I bet we'd probably be seeing a lot more different shit. But it's not like soccer, it's not like these other sports where like coaches run the show. And unless they're producing bad results, because we can't blame bad results on just the players. What else are coaches there for? Like, they're there to coach and get good results. So if the team's not getting good results, the coach has to take some blame for that. Can't just be the players. But sometimes players can't coach if players aren't taking information in. But I made a whole tweet about that, which I showed you earlier. I just think there's so many things, so many aspects. Like, they really need to play for each other, especially Hydra. Hydra's number one. I think Niam and Scrap are great. I don't think Scrap's that great in S&D. I think he needs to give up the sniper to Niam. If they do have a sniper, it should be Niam. Everyone else should just be doing like whatever they do. I think in the respawns, though, I think Niam and Scrap are great. Overload is like a whole team thing, obviously. But I think hard points really comes down to Hydra. And I even saw Abizi. He's improving his OBJ per 10 in this team because he almost has no choice playing with Hydra. He has like no choice. Like, Abizi's at a 67. I remember on FaZe he's at like a 50. So he's exponentially improved his objective per 10 in this team. So he's already bending backwards a bit. But Hydra is still the same player, not bending for his team. Why does everyone have to bend for him, but he can't bend for them? I don't understand. I do not understand. But there's so many things I can say about this LA Thieves team, but this podcast will be like 2 hours. I'm trying to minimize the time. Maybe I might do a direct episode of just talking about LA Thieves again, especially after this next weekend of matches. I might just do that. I might not recap and just talk about like the big teams and the big points, but definitely a lot of egos. I mean, I would coach circles around. I would like if I was the coach of a BZ Scrap, Niam, and Hydra, they would be the best team in the league. I swear to God. I wholeheartedly believe if I was coaching this team. Obviously, I'm a content creator first, and I know I say a lot of things that ruffle a lot of feathers, which would not help me get a job at all, which is why I'm a content creator first, because I don't care. But if people put their personal differences aside, if I coach this team, bro, I'll do it for free on the side, bro. If I could get my input into this team and get my philosophies into this team would be the best team in the league. But, you know, that's another story entirely as we get to Paris. Paris. Let me take a sip of my water. Just talk for 23 minutes straight about LA Thieves. I'm stumbling over my words already. LA Thieves lose 3-1 to Paris. Or, I mean, holy cow, I just said that wrong. Oh, my God. Paris Gentlemates lose 3-1 to Vancouver Surge. How did I get this so wrong? I got this so wrong. Okay. Paris is on a downtrend, okay? As we could acknowledge. I might not spend as much time on this as I did LAT, but tomorrow I'm doing my stream about Paris, and then Thursday doing my stream about LA Thieves, so stay tuned for those ones, back-to-back days. So Paris stream tomorrow, tune in for that. But this podcast does drop technically tomorrow, so Wednesday, Paris stream, be there, be square, around 8 p.m. Eastern. 8 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. Eastern, like about there. Okay. I ranted about this last week. Okay, I ranted about this last week. I'm going to do a little bit more of a rant about it this week. The loss that Paris had to Cloud9 was unacceptable. People could chalk that up as just a major loss. Whatever, it's a qualifier. It don't matter. Flukes could happen. A team of this caliber with the fragility of this team and the personalities on this team and wanting to build momentum and have a good year and prove people wrong. I have said in the preseason, this is a team of players with chips on their shoulder. Envoy and Ghosty got dropped because their team and the org didn't think they were cutting it, didn't think they were good enough. Neptune, chip on his shoulder. Nobody wanted to pick him up. Paris took a chance on him. He's trying to prove he's freaking good enough. Dante had the keys to the castle in Cloud9, wants to prove that he's good enough to hang at the top end of the league. Everyone talks about him having the skill, but he doesn't have a championship mindset, in my opinion. And we're going to get more into that in a bit. But yeah, 4 players with chips on their shoulder that want to prove people wrong. You need to go into all these games locked in. Don't think just because you won the Major 1, you had a good Stage 1, it's time to kick your feet up and just like not do anything. You need to keep the momentum going. And they went to that Cloud9 game and they trolled. And I guess I'll get into my tweet first because my tweet pretty much explains it. Speaking of personally, this like probably the one tweet I made that actually had positive positive freaking feedback on it. Incredible. Incredible. So I said the Gentlemates problem is all mental, plus sucking at overload. Just have to leave it up to them to figure it out. Stop saying drop Envoy. He's the smartest person on that team. There's no obvious roster change like the short-term thinking COD community says. We need them to stick it out. I think it all started when they got too cocky after Major 1. Then that cockiness led to not trying versus C9 and brushing it off with ego, but in the back of their mind, doubt began to sprout. Then you go into every game after knowing there's a possibility of an upset. Then it grows more and more, and then you troll more and more, make mistakes more and more, your mental tweaks more and more. Like I said at the beginning of the season, this team needs to stay locked in all the time. Complacency leads to losses, which leads to doubt, which leads to toxicity, which leads to either growth and positive change or implosion. Pretty much sums up everything I had to say. But the loss to Cloud9 was unacceptable. But do you want to know what's even more unacceptable? We could give you Koi and Minnesota, but losing those 3-0, I mean, just unacceptable in general. But there's 2 teams in the league. I don't care how bad of a slump you're at. You should not be losing to these 2 teams, and you lost to them. Cloud9 and Vancouver. Don't care what roster upgrade they got. I don't rate Cap highly at all. Okay, I don't rate him highly at all. He's like pretty much like the exact same. He was a 0.91 in challengers. He's still like a 0. Like freaking like whatever. He's a 0.94 right now. 0.94, 0.92 in hard point. Like he's instantly right at the bottom of the league in all the respawns. You know? So tells you everything you need to know. They're losing to absolute burgers. Gwyn had a takeover series, obviously, whatever. This is not even about Vancouver. It's an anomaly series. I'm not even going to talk about Paris's gameplay that much because I know their gameplay right now is not great, but it all stems from the mental. The things they were doing before, like in Hardpoint, they were like the only team doing like 2-man, 3-man rotational pinches, and their breaks, like the synergy and the cohesion that they had, all gone, all out the window. It's like everyone now is just saying, fuck it. Let's just go into these games, just fuck it, you know? Everyone's just trolling now. Everyone's like, they're playing like they don't even care anymore. And it's like, I can't even actually, in my right mind, analyze that because it's like, I know that's not the way they actually play. Like, I saw the way they played in Stage 1. There's no way they're just stopping playing like that and just not playing like that anymore. They're definitely trolling. Obviously, their S&D does need work for sure. And their overload does need work, but their hardpoint, they should not be losing the hardpoints the way they're losing. Like they were like the best hardpoint team. They started hardpoint off like 14-1, 14-2, and then all of a sudden they just collapsed. And now they're just losing hardpoint to everybody. Everyone's getting their piece of the pie now. They're now 21-11 at hardpoint, which is crazy. And like 9 of those losses all came like this stage. Like they're just now losing every hardpoint now. They're 13-13. At S&D, they're 9-11 at overload. They should be frying everyone at hardpoint. The only teams that should be contesting at hardpoint are like the top teams. But Vancouver's, all these teams should be smacking them. It's all a mental thing. And I told them, and everyone told them. I mean, I was the only one that told them about complacency, but everyone talked about, including me, when things go bad in this team, how are things going to go then? And I it's just the most obvious thing to see with just the personalities, like the Dante personality. I know Ghostie's a very well-spoken person. He's a very great guy. But, you know, he has like that edge to him. Like he has like that side to him. I know how Envoy could get. Envoy is notorious whenever his teams are doing well, just doesn't try, starts saying stuff he shouldn't say, like, oh, these challengers have no talent, da-da-da-da-da. And then he gets smoked by them over and over again. And then I think fucking Neptune's just the only one going hard, but he just like plays brain dead sometimes. But he's the only one that's like literally going hard every game. But those 3 players, when things go bad, like I know how Dante is. Like they lost to Cloud9. He's going on stream. I'm on 50 ping. Da 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 da. We shouldn't have lost to them. They're so terrible. Da da da. Why did you lose to them? Like if you're on 50 ping, the best they could be at is like 20-30, and you're playing Cloud9, brother. You're an established team. You're playing a bunch of random rank play kids. Like Cloud9 is not good at all. No disrespect to Cloud9, they're not good at all. Those players are like rank play kids One of them's a Fortnite kid playing competitive Call of Duty for the first time this season. You're losing to that guy. That is an unacceptable loss that Paris got. I will, like, if I was the coach, I would be so mad. I would be fuming at that Cloud9 loss. Fuming. I'll be like, that is never happening again. But now it's happened like 4 times in a row. They lost 4 games in a row. Not regaining it all. Not regaining it all. Who do I blame here? I mean, the thing I talked about, like, with coaches, I could also, like, throw into Paris as well when it comes to this aura and authority and, like, just being able to, like, really, like, lock these motherfuckers in. Are these motherfuckers really listening? You know, that type of stuff. I could say the same thing about that. But it's all mental. It's all mental. And them regaining and getting back on the same page. I just know how Sib is. And it's so annoying. I talk about it. If he does not have a good year this year, then I'm chalking it up as just wasted potential. Because I know how talented he is. But I don't think he just doesn't have the right people around him. And I'm not talking about players. I feel like he needs some sort of a personal coach. Okay? And in all these series that they're playing, like, he's playing well statistically. But, I mean, it's like the whole team, dude. It's like the whole team. And if Dante's playing like the best on your team, then your team's not doing good. In my opinion. If he's playing the best, I mean, obviously you could talk about like the grand finals, whatever, but everyone was playing good. But if he's like significantly the only one doing good on the team, then that's a bad thing. It means that everyone else is not doing their job. Because when everyone else is doing their job, Dante's like a 1.0. Like, you know, unless it's grand finals, whatever. It's a little bit different. But I was like, they like hardened Ezreal and that shit. But my point stands 100%. Envoy, you can talk about Envoy playing bad, but I still think Envoy's like the smartest person on this team. I just think like when the team is in a slump and someone has to do bad, it's most likely going to be like the SMG players because they're the ones sprinting around like the most. I don't think the same cohesion that they had is there, and that directly correlates to Envoy playing bad. I think he's starting to play more like freaking Kenny, where now he's just like doing just rogue shit that he doesn't need to do, and he's flying out, just adding onto his deaths over and over and over again. There's so many things I could talk about, but we're gonna get more into their gameplay when we analyze them in the stream. Analyze them in the stream tomorrow or today. By the time you hear this podcast, I'm gonna leave it rendering and I'm gonna go to the gym for the first time in 5 days. Whoa, can you imagine? But this Paris thing is all mental, and it's about them getting over the mental hurdle. And I mean, I say it's all freaking mental, but then their overload is still terrible. Hopefully they take my notes. I sent my notes to everybody, like, over there. I'm like, bro, read my fucking notes, bro. Read my notes. Get over your pride of a non-pro player, like, fuck, telling you how to play the game. Trust me. Those notes will help you get better at overload. Trust me. And I don't even think, like, the week of practice they had not being in the pro league, like, help, like, or I mean, scrimming against challengers. I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. I know the challengers players aren't as great, but it doesn't make a difference. Like, these pro teams scrim against OpTic and they're literally still last. Like, it doesn't matter. Practice is practice. It's more about like what you're doing as a team in practice, not about who you're playing against. Obviously, if you're playing against pub players, it's going to be completely different, but you're playing against still good players, good challengers teams, and that like know how to play the game. So there's still things you could work on while they're like absolutely going hard. And these challenger teams are going to try even more against the pro teams to like try to look good, you know? So you're getting pretty good competition in scrims, and it's a new look. You get to see how other people play, maybe grab things from challengers players, even though there's so many of them that are bad, but you could grab stuff from anyone. I don't think that week off of like pro practice was anything of an excuse. Like, I don't think that's even an excuse for playing bad, honestly. Practice is practice. Everyone complains about scrims all the time. This is all a mental thing when it comes to their hard point, but their S&E and overload have always needed work, but now the mental issues just don't make it seem any better. And if you take away like the sniper away from Sib, like, he's just like not a good S&D player, like, in my opinion. That's just my opinion on this team. That sniper is definitely keeping him any sort of relevant in S&D. And yeah, and I don't know why freaking Ghosty has the most bomb plants in the league. That should definitely be Envoy. I think they had that whole thing backwards. Envoy needs to take the bomb in S&D, not Ghosty, okay? That's the first thing they need to, like, really work on. Why is Ghosty taking the bomb in S&D? I know he likes being an OBG player. I know he likes enabling. Envoy should be the bomb taker. Okay, end of story. End of story. A Ghosty should be free. He should be playing off Envoy in the bomb. That's what he should be doing. Neptune should be in there as well, being like the first blood reaper. Let fucking Dante be the island player, whatever. Definitely need to rework at S&D and like that mind as well. And their overload, I talked about their overload. I made videos about it. I made like the Twitter post with everything about their overload. So I'm not going to talk about it in the podcast, but there's many things. I mean, I guess for those audio listeners who haven't maybe seen it, I'll go over some things. Actually, I'll go over the overall problems. So I made ones about just like their maps in general. But overall problem is bad decision making. No proactivity in plays. There's no player playing for what will happen in 10 to 20 seconds. Everybody's playing in the now. So when you play teams like OpTic and FaZe, who have guys setting up spawn traps for EMP reset or next EMP respawn, you're already losing. Nobody sets up the next person for success. And I had an example. Hesitate too much or overthink too much. That's what I put. And then stop grabbing the EMP when you have no kills. Multiple examples of that. Made it into some YouTube videos. Use the EMP to maneuver the opponent and the map. And then I said, I don't think Paris is utilizing the skill of the players on their team in Overload. They should be a top 3 team in the mode, undisputed. Players like Envoy need a certain role in the mode because they look lost. Envoy and Overload should be the ultimate Swiss Army knife gap filler for what his team needs. Transitioning from being aggressive on pushing spawn cuts to being ball carrier or support runner. I also don't like that Ghosty is the number 1 OBJ player in the mode for them. That's great for him, but I don't think that's good long term. Also, just my opinion, but I think Neptune should be more of the front lines in terms of where the ball is, and Envoy should be more of the island player in the mode. Definitely something to experiment and see if it works. Simp has the most kills, damage, and engagements in the mode for the team, yet it still feels like he doesn't feel super impactful. Probably because he's on the front lines where the EMP is, but the rest of the team doesn't influence the other parts of the map, so it just feels like Nazi Zombie's stat simulator. His plays and movements in between the frontline activity can definitely improve. Lacks in the decision-making department, which is very big for Dante. Very big for Dante. Very easy to see is no overall system. I don't see players coming off spawn knowing what their role is in the system to get the goal they want to achieve. And then I made some examples for that. I don't know why I'm reading this. And I did say 2 positives. 2 positives to their overload. They're very good at 4v4 defensive holds. Very good at that. And most of the games they lose in overload, they look like they could have won. Scoreline may say one thing, but the game never looks like they got tremendously destroyed. Usually tapers off later in the game when it looks like they gave up. So that's my overload for them. Their S&D needs to improve. There's a lot of things I could tell them about their S&D, and maybe I might message them that like behind the scenes. Who knows? But Paris definitely needs to improve. The mental needs to change. Dante, if you're reading... Dante, somebody clip this and send this to Sib, because I know he'll fucking see it. I know he sees it. I know he loves seeing people that talk about him, okay? Sib, if you're listening to this, or when you listen to this, I need you to hear me, okay? Need you to hear me. You are one of the most, skill-wise, one of the most talented Call of Duty players we have seen in a long time. But the one thing that will always hold you back is your attitude. It's your mental. That's the one thing that will always hold you back. If you want to be a true champion, I know you just won Major 1. Woo, congrats. And like you won like that one major in MW3 NYSL. That's 2 majors, okay? Like you've been playing for a while. If you want to be a true champion, you need to act like a champion all the time. When you win, it should be right back to the drawing board. What should I do to get that feeling again? I feel like when you win, you get complacent. Or when you lose, like you're just whining instead of like trying to figure out how I'm actually going to get better. How am I going to make the team better? You know, it's a team game after all. And I know you're statistically playing good while everyone else is playing bad, but why is everyone else playing bad? Are you affecting with the way you act? Because I could tell already, like that stream with like Cloud9 complaining about that. You just look like an AI doing that. You just look like a sore loser. And it's like classic Dante. If you really want to be a champion and really cement yourself in history, as like a top player, because everyone knows how skilled you are. No one's ever doubted your individual Call of Duty skill. It's always been mental every time. It's why for like a certain while of time you're blacklisted at the beginning before accuracy gave you a chance on Seattle Surge. It's your mental. It's always been your mental. That's why when you message people in the offseason, people weren't replying. It's not because they didn't think you're good enough. It's because of how you act. It's because of the energy that you give off in certain scenarios. That's something you need to work on. It can bring a whole team down. It can rise the whole team up. Like, why else would Simp not want to play with you? Like, he needed a good AR. You have to look in the mirror for that. Why wouldn't Scrap want to play with you? Look in the mirror for that. Why would he pick up Kenny over you? Kenny was dropping 0.6s and he picked him over you. That should tell you all you need to know. Look in the mirror. It's you. Look in the mirror. It's your mental. It's not your skill. Nobody doubts your skill. It's the mental. You need to grow up in here. And you will become everything that you think you are in Call of Duty. And I'm going to end off the podcast there, as OpTic have a very big gap in the standings. This is anyone's game. Anything could happen. I mean, holy cow. Anything could happen. I guess we'll predict these Friday matches. Koi against Cloud9. I mean, I have Koi. Falcons against Miami. I'm going to pick... I would do like the map videos for that, but my mind's just going to be all over the place. Just spending half an hour doing like the map. I'm not going to do predictions. I'm just going to wait for the map set to come out. Like, and I'll do my predictions for that. And then Paris against OpTic. I'll actually do my predictions for that like on Thursday or something. I'll predict it like freaking later. I'm not doing that podcast. Paris against OpTic on that Friday too. That's going to be a good Friday. Like the Falcons, Miami, and Paris OpTic game on Friday are great. They put a nice Koi Cloud9 just to give us some time to get home from work. And then they threw the two good games on after. So I will be live for those on Friday. I'll be live Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. Wednesday talking about Paris, everything Paris. Thursday talking about LA Thieves, everything LA Thieves. Friday streaming the Falcons and the Paris matches. If there's any post-game analysis, I'll do that. But thank you guys for tuning in to this episode of the Borito Talk podcast. Follow the show on Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Download the show, tell a friend. It really helps me out. There's a lot of haters in the Call of Duty community trying to hold me back. Okay, I left the Zoo Mafia community on Twitter and the Greenwall community because like people were this and that, and then they're freaking following me on my Twitter posts like, oh, this guy's still tweeting. Why are you following me on my Twitter? Like, I'm posting my Twitter now. Okay. Follow me on Twitter. I live tweet all the time. I got the best tweets in the game on Twitter. BORI70S on Twitter, on YouTube. Borito Talk, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. Already said that. But yeah, just that's it. That's all I got. Help me grow, and I'll give you the best content you could ask for. That's all I got to say. All right, guys. This has been Borito. Au revoir, goodbye. We'll see you next time. Have a good work week. We'll see you in the streams Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, and over the weekend. Peace out. This has been the #1 CDL ESPN analyst / content creator in the world.